Hi everyone, and I'm making this particular video right now to just talk a little bit about the discussion posts and the experience reports. First of all, I'm having such a good time um, interacting with you all, reading your posts and interacting with you all about them. Regardless of whether we feel like we're on the same page or not, I feel like there aren't right or wrong answers to the questions posed necessarily. But there are deeper answers, perhaps, or more superficial answers. There's that kind of thing is possible. So I just want to say, first of all, I want to thank you for interacting with the material and with me. Second of all, since there's no essays in this course, then there's a lot of emphasis being put on these posts of various different kinds. And so I really invite you or ask you to go into them in as deeply as possible, to answer them from your minds, intellects, hearts, and soul, both. When you say something, there are multiple lines of evidence, multiple kinds of backup that you can give. One is the backup of what is in the texts, or what you know is in other texts that you can reference, as we do in academia. But in this, also at Atlantic University and other alternative colleges, you also have backup of experience, your own experience and knowing, which you can report on and supplement with back and forth between the external material and this more internal material. So, really don't be afraid of using both. I'm asking you to use both as extensively as you can. And I want to say something particular. It's like there's a temptation to think, I think perhaps, that we're reporting on our inner experience when we say, I believe something. I believe that we come into this world having decided the life that we are going to lead and what we're going to experience. For example, that would be one example. And that's okay. I'm not being sort of rude about that. That's fine to believe that. But then in this context, something a little more is needed than the simple "I believe" statement. You have reasons for believing that, presumably. What are those reasons? What has led you to that belief? What experience has led you to that belief? What reading has led you to that belief? It's not really quite sufficient to simply say, I believe something. So that's just a caution in everything that you say. It's like it all requires backup. Now, and I know that the statements I could make that are based on what I would call intuitive knowing. There's some things that I feel I know intuitively. And so, well, I can say that I intuitively feel like, for example, when I'm walking in nature, I intuitively feel like everything is sacred. There's an intuitive feeling. Sometimes that's at the level of an actual perception. When in good times, it's something I see it and I know it. Well, I can report on all of that. I can give you some background on that, intuitive knowing, and talk about its consequences, what has led me to that intuitive knowing. I can give you a lot of extra material that will help you to grasp it from me as more than something that I'm simply saying that I say believe. So even in the case of intuitive knowing, there's more that can be shared personally and from other evidence. For me, for example, in the case of intuitively knowing that everything is sacred, when I'm in nature, I have delved personally deeply into what we can know scientifically about nature, and I see very clearly that there's a huge arena of existence that's left out of science, and that's caused me to pay attention to that arena and to find that intuitive knowing inside of myself. So whereas perhaps in the past I would have walked around simply assuming that I could explain everything in scientific terms, now I see very clearly that I can't explain everything. So that's a kind of supplement to this intuitive knowing. It sort of backs it up, and there's many threads that do that. So I'm just trying to suggest. So now, if in answering, putting up a discussion post, I'm going to try and respond to all of your discussion posts, and I always try and make comments and ask questions, if possible. But there's a certain kind of question that will let you know that perhaps you didn't answer the question as deeply and as fully as you might have, and it's the kind of question that I might ask you if I'm really repeating a part of the original question. And if I say to you, well, what about this, and that was contained in the original question, then that's a clue that I think that you could have gone deeper and you could have said more from your own experience and from the text about that particular thing. So that's just a clue, rather than I'm not going to say to you, or you didn't say enough. I'm going to try and draw more out of you. That's what I'm going to try and do when I feel that's appropriate. So, but like I said, I'm going to try and ask all of you questions, sometimes that simply bounce off what you said, and that's really just to take the discussion further, because it's really enjoyable and it takes us all deeper to do that. Okay, so that is the discussion posts. Same kind of thing really with the experience posts. Just go deeply into your experience, where that leads you mentally and intellectually, what the experience was, or whatever you can, wherever you can go with it, go there. And you can't write too much. I want to say that. But you can write too little. You can be too superficial. Go as deep as you possibly can in all of these questions, and that's what I'm asking for. And with your complete engagement with the material, and going into things wholeheartedly, then to me there's no points to be lost if that is clear that that's happening. So so that's hopefully more information. Please feel free to asking me more questions about this if you need to, if it's confusing. Okay, so that's this video, and I'm making another video to wrap up where we've been and where we're going now. Okay, thanks everyone.